Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gex Enter the Gecko commentary. Now, I'm not going to lie, this particular leg of the game is not my favorite. Mostly because, well, I'm not a fan of the Circuit Central level trope, to be honest. A lot of it kind of... I get that movie reference.
You sound like Captain America.
It's kind of like a B pun though. They just sort of inserted the word gecko. I expect better from the level names in this game, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the computer motif. I mean, it really just seems like the least fitting stage trope in this game. Like it's just sort of a generic platformer level that doesn't really have much to do with television. And I get it. Computers were really hype in the 90s, but
yeah.
You found it on the internet.
On your mark, get set.
It seems more fitting for my hypothetical internet meme spewing gecko than for television.
This is back when it was known as the World Wide Web.
Ugh.
All this technology
But after the bulletin board system.
Back when keywords were still the hottest shit.
When you had enough AOL discs to have frisbees for years.
And back when commercials would actually spell out www.whatever.com.
Man, AOL discs came in the mail all the time, too.
Yeah, you never had to
were.
pay for it, like ever. Because as soon
Yeah,
as you
'cause
ran
you had
out
so
of
many
free
free trials.
hours, you could just
Get more.
Yeah.
And now AOL is a crappy YouTube ripoff site.
No, my grandpa still uses it for his email.
My mom still has an AOL email, and I really wish she'd get rid of it.
Yeah, but like AOL, like its only real big thing now is
Being old.
no, it has like I said, a crappy YouTube ripoff site where they run videos, and it's like they have a new logo. It's the letters AOL period. Like they're trying to be hip and new by making their
The L in AOL stands for life support now.
You know, I still remember my days on AOL Instant Messenger, though.
I mean, you don't forget that shit. It's just like, god damn. You know, I used AOL all the time, dial up and all that, and I used
Back in
AIM.
97.
Does anyone
Yeah.
remember Netscape?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, Netscape was before
Netscape.
my time.
Yeah, Netscape was what we used before AOL was even a thing, and it was only in schools.
Netscape was before the earliest of early Internet Explorer browsers.
Yeah. Back when I frequented Game Winners instead of Game Facts.
Game Sages instead of IGN.
Game Sages, yeah, that's right. Game
Back when
Sages.
people actually read video games.
Can we just keep this tangent going on for the rest of this part, please? Because I know we're not going to have much to say about this level.
You found it on the internet.
Ooh, I love that song.
I love showing that shit to like younger kids, and they're like, "What?
Camera!
You mean to say people didn't know how to use computers?"
Now you see, this is what I mean when I say this half of the game is the one where Gex's slipperiness starts to become a problem, because it's this half of the game where the level construction starts to get a little too complex for the way the camera swings around on its own all the time. And that's even in manual camera mode where it'll do that shit.
In a high-pressure situation, no less, because, and again, one of the gimmicks of the circuitry levels is that you have to grab a green orb and then take it to another power source.
Yeah, and it's exactly
Before the
that
music
that
runs
reason
out.
that I don't like it. In fact, I don't like a lot of the levels that are in the late game because the gameplay system just wasn't all the way there, and the levels seem to be designed for a gameplay system that is most certainly all the way there, which this isn't. I mean, I like the level designs, but I would only actually enjoy playing them if the camera worked properly. Like if they did an Insane Trilogy style remake of this game with a better camera, I would be all over that shit. It'll never happen, but I would be all over that shit.
Do you remember the first time you guys got broadband, or like DSL?
Yep. You mean we don't have to listen to the screeching noise?
My computer is no longer a pain.
I don't remember exactly when that was, unfortunately.
I no longer have to rate my ears every time I want to go online.
But it was still expensive enough and slow enough that your parents wouldn't let you use the internet freely. and they were still all wrapped up in those stereotypes about internet stranger danger being around every corner. So
My
Wait a
parents
minute.
gave No shit.
I'm talking to people I met on the internet. Are you guys gonna kidnap me? Am I gonna get kidnapped
Get
by
in the van.
BrainScratch comms?
We need to build ourselves a shitty wall.
I still see old timers talking about how relationships on the internet aren't real, but there's a real person on the other side of that thing. So.
Yeah, you're not talking to a fucking AI.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's
I mean, as far as I know.
it's it's not 50-year-old creepers that are the only people on the internet, obviously, since we're all 20-year-old creepers here. It's just one of those things. Like I did have to get through this with my parents as well. In that, yes, internet relationships can be just as fulfilling as relationships you have with people you see in quote unquote real life. And actually, in many cases, many of the friendships I've had on the internet are more fulfilling because
you actually go out of your way to do them rather than real life ones in school where you just had them out of convenience.
Yeah, because I know you guys because we share interests, whereas at school I have to be lucky enough to find somebody who might share some of my interests, you know?
Yeah, that's the double-edged sword of the internet. Is it makes it a whole lot easier to find people who are like-minded to you, but it also makes it a fuck lot easier to lock yourself in an echo chamber with said people.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that's where you get really bad fan base behavior from.
It's a good thing the BrainScratch comms fan base would never do asshole-ish things. Right, guys? Right.
Glares through my microphone at you.
What? Alright, microphones have cameras now, just like microwaves.
Hi, government! How are you doing?
Hi, NSA. Hey, that's my hot pocket. Don't you touch it now.
Oh, man. Maybe they should just record us going on like this and put it in as the voice acting for the next Gex game. It'd be funnier.
But we are recording it, though.
Cameras and microwaves! What the shit?
Was that an impression of Gex doing a Seinfeld impression?
Yeah, I would say so.
Except Seinfeld doesn't
Was that an
swear.
impression of Dana doing a Jerry Seinfeld impression? Yeah. Like, my limits... I have no limits.
Does Seinfeld actually even swear, though? Also, I missed a silver remote here. I'll go back and get it later in
No,
the video.
Jerry Seinfeld doesn't swear, does he?
No, he
Not
doesn't.
in,
not-
not in the show, anyway.
It's not like, oh god, Bob Costas, who played Danny Tanner in... No, Bob Saget. Why'd I call him Bob Costas?
Bob Costas.
Yeah.
Now, that would make for one really different show.
It's Bob Seger.
Seinfeld
Oh,
is like
crap.
the most basic fucking comedian on the planet, and in some ways that's his charm. But on the other hand, sometimes you just want a little more attitude.
Well,
you know?
Bob Saget swears a lot is the thing, but if you compare...
Don't fuck that shit.
Fuck!
Yeah, because if you compare his work on Full House, where
Or Funniest Home Videos.
where he's like where it's all super family friendly and all
Funniest home videos. I used to watch that all the time.
that. Yeah, you
Oh,
don't.
funny
Unfortunately, it
things
doesn't
you
need to
do.
exist anymore because
We have YouTube.
Yeah, we have YouTube. It's called YouTube now.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about YouTube? There's better sound editing.
even Vine has better sound editing than America's Funniest Home Videos.
Man.
Well, no, wait, Vine doesn't exist anymore. Shit. Thanks, internet.
On the subject of that, apparently Pinterest is blocked in China now.
A lot of things. are
Everything's
blocked.
blocked in China.
Yeah,
Well,
I know,
guess they
but
weren't
it's
very
it's
Pinterested.
interesting in Pinterest's case because it went unblocked for a very long time, and there's no real reason for why it's suddenly not available anymore.
I'm sure there's
Chinese
a
government
reason,
needs
but
no excuses.
you know the Chinese government isn't going to tell us.
Yeah, well, there's some sort of event going on, some sort of government thing, and it sounds like the Chinese government just went into super paranoid mode for a few weeks.
You mean they aren't at any point?
Well, it's hyper paranoid mode as opposed to super paranoid mode.
There you go.
That's a lot of
Super paranoid mode turbo.
It's 14 Chaos Emeralds worth of paranoia. Whew. Man, this commentary is all over the place all of a sudden.
Well, the internet's all over the place, so...
Yeah, and we've got two
And
more.
we're playing
red
it. Or we're
remotes
playing an internet level. We played it
man.
on the internet.
You see, this level is the connecting thread between the Gex of the 90s, which was television references, and the Gex of the 2017s, which is television references made by internet dweebs trying to sound cool.
I can't wait for
that's-
2017, 18.
Thank you for subscribing to BrainScratch Commentaries, by the way.
Oh, man.
If you want something that'll put at least several thousand white hairs on whatever facial hair you're rocking, go watch the fucking Windows 95 setup video starring the Friends cast.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
that was a
that's
thing.
a real thing.
Like,
They have to tell you about
Jesus
like what a
Christ.
window is and all that other stuff. It's hilarious.
Oh, man, I think I know what you're talking about.
Back when Windows Explorer was a new thing.
Let's
Oh,
just
man.
put it this way: it's funnier than most of the episodes of the show.
You know, that was actually something that needed to happen because Windows 95 was the introduction of the current Windows configuration. Before that,
Yeah.
it was all
Command prompts.
Command prompts.
No, it wasn't command prompts. It was what's called Program Manager, which is this one window that contains a bunch of other windows, and you can cascade the windows. And it was basically what Windows would be if it didn't have the taskbar at the bottom or the pull-down menu.
That sounds awful.
Good old DOS.
It was okay. Actually, it was perfectly navigable. You still had to go into DOS and command prompt to get certain programs to run, like Wolfenstein. At
Or
least
Doom.
that's how it was on my grandparents' computer, Windows 3.11. But the actual graphical user interface was fairly convenient at the time. I think it might have been somewhat of a fusion of old Windows and the way Mac computers used to run that Windows 95 was working with. But the thing about Program Manager is it was still in Windows 95. You could still use it. You just had to open it up. They didn't ditch that until, what was it, Vista or 7? One of the two.
I think it was 7, because Vista worked just pretty much just like X,
But not as well.
just not as well. Yeah, it was buggier.
Yeah, there was a bug in older versions of Windows sometimes where it would, for some reason, be running the Program Manager executable, but the actual Program Manager part of the Program Manager wasn't in the operating system anymore.
Wow.
It's because Windows has been built on top of its old code, kind of like the way the Yakuza series is built on top of all of its old resources all the time, except not done well at all.
Have you guys ever tried using different operating softwares? I mean, besides the obvious Windows and Mac, like, have you ever tried Linux or Ubuntu?
I've done a little bit of Linux and Ubuntu, if only because I went to like a super high tech, as far as programming courses go, college. So a lot of people had those OSs on their computers.
Yeah. There was I went to ITT Technical Institute, which incidentally, shortly after I dropped out, closed its local campuses, and I almost
Because what the fuck is an Ubuntu?
I dropped out too soon. They closed their local campuses, and I could have gotten like forgiven on all my debt, but I was just a little too soon to make that window, and now
Then I said, no, BrainScratch is calling me.
yeah. Well, no, the school itself was pretty terrible. There were the occasional good teacher, but the school itself was terrible. They tried to rush too much into too short a time frame, and they didn't do it effectively. And the Linux class was probably the worst offender, because all the Linux teacher, who really only knew Windows, did was have us walk through the steps of the fucking workbook. What the fuck just happened there? Of the fucking workbook, and, you know, teach ourselves how to use Linux command line. Only the command line. There was nothing about the different graphical user interfaces, the choices that we
Print
could...
hello world.
Yeah, there was... it's just... Ugh. Man, I feel like I wasted so much of my life, and I'm going to be paying it back for so long.
That's how everyone feels about college.
Ugh.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where you go, to be honest.
Well, you see, I was interested,
Invincible.
actually, in the classes and seeing where I could take it, but none of it was really doing anything.
Yeah, but having the skills and who's actually looking for those skills are an entirely different thing.
Well, yeah, but the actual courses I was in were in a fairly high demand at the time, so that wasn't really a big worry.
Like, I regret college if only because of what I've actually done with my degree and all that sort of thing, but at the same time I don't, because I made some of my best friends in college.
I met you guys during college.
Yeah, did that too.
Well, it's just like, I would be fine with going to college and not getting a career out of it if I felt like I'd at least picked up skills.
You can't put a price tag on the shit that I've experienced in college, like dorm life and that sense of independency for the first time. And yeah, I'm still paying for it today, and I'll still be paying it in about 6.5 years.
Well,
but,
I didn't even get that because I just went to this this campus that was in an office building, and I lived in my house the whole time.
The dumpster outside the McDonald's doesn't count.
What about the dumpster outside of the Wendy's?
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
And fuck me, they kept pushing, doing research through their own computer system on us during all of our fucking projects.
During all your fucking.
And during all of our
That sounds like college.
Now that
Stop
yeah.
watching. God damn it, talk when you're there.
during all of our goddamn projects, they kept pushing requirements to do a minimum amount of work through their own in-house research website thing, and I'm like, but that's not teaching me how to research once I leave the school.
That, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of when I was in high school. Actually, when I was at my school, they still make me do this. It's like, okay, you're going to use our special search engine in order to find articles. And I'm like, that's great, but as soon as I leave the school, I can't find any of these articles anymore. So teach me how to find these articles so that with a source that I don't have to pay hundreds of dollars a year in order to get access to.
Yeah, give us some advice about how to web search efficiently. Give us some advice about how to find stuff at the library. Stuff like that.
Make sure you have all this crammed in your head for the job. You'll be able to freely look stuff up if you need to.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's one of those things that annoyed me. It's just like, okay, you've got to use these specific search tools, and a lot of it's just frustrating because if you want academic papers of any sort, a lot of the times you have to use these specific search engines. It just makes academia or doing your own research very, very difficult and needless and stupid and bad.
Ugh. Okay. So, that was our college tangent.
I don't know who wired this for you, but none of this stuff is grounded.
Yeah, our commentary is not very grounded. Thanks for that, Gex. Is that a reference to a movie?
We looked it up on the internet.
Anyway, yeah, one more red remote. I think I also need to find the...
Or just the stage?
No, just the stage. Just the stage, and then we can get back to talking about the game, because we'll have something other than this level to talk about.
We'll go on a kung fu tangent for 1 minute and then talk about the internet again.
We talked about it on the internet.
Jeez. I feel like if I'm ever going to actually use any of the computer stuff that I was trying to learn at school, I'll have to self-teach myself, like HTML and stuff. We didn't learn a goddamn thing about HTML while I was there. You'd think that would be one of the first things, but no.
I bought a book on action scripting for Adobe Flash just in the case that I was never going to use that knowledge. And sure enough, I'm probably going to have to hit that book if I'm ever thinking of action scripting ever again.
What would you need to... I'm sorry, I'm tech illiterate. What would you need to action script for?
ActionScript is essentially coding in Adobe Flash. It's not even called Flash anymore. Now it's called Animate. It's just basically coding. That's all.
Okay.
It was how to get your stuff on Newgrounds.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's how you make Flash games and all that sort of shit. Speaking of, I did find that old Flash game I made.
You did?
Oh.
Is it terrible?
It's awful.
What?
Like, it's absolutely terrible.
What
Is
kind
it a Sonic
is it?
fan game?
Is it a Bejeweled clone? Is it a terrible 2D platformer? What is it? I need details.
It is a
Is it Centipede?
platformer, in a sense. Only without platforms. You just simply move left to right without dying.
What is there to kill you?
I
Oh, so
challenge you guys to play it when we meet up at MomoCon.
Okay, so it's... Or we could just pop in any other modern Sonic game, but...
Yeah. Coding, though, is exceptionally useful, even if you're using something like RPG Maker. Because if you know the programming language for that, you can make RPG Maker do almost anything.
Can you run Doom on it?
Probably.
I don't know. Someone made a sort of Toho platformer with it.
You probably could make Doom. You probably could run Doom in RPG Maker, actually.
Everything runs Doom.
Even-
My calculator runs Doom.
Not very well, but it does.
Ah, man.
I like Doom.
I like Brutal Doom.
Good to know.
I like Brutal Doom. It's basically the Doom you know and love, but with, aiming up and down. And blood splatter when you hit things. And an actual control scheme that won't make you want to shoot yourself.
You can't shoot yourself in Doom.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't want it. I want a lot of things that you can't do in video games.
True. We all wanted to shoot a dog at Duck, but we only got to do it in Smash 4. And that was only because you had characters like Samus around.
Well, anybody could do it if you got, like, the Super Scope.
True.
Yeah, but he'd just laugh at you, He'd snap that bullet out of the air the same way what's-his-face from Skyward Sword grabs the sword. Fuck
Girahim.
that guy. Fuck Girahim. I hate that guy.
But he
It took
loves
me
you.
a long time to understand how he worked in Hyrule Warriors. Then he was okay.
Well, I'm sure he's fine in Hyrule Warriors. It's just the
Well,
way.
Do you want to know something really funny? And I saw this on A+ Start. Son of a Glitch is a good series. You should check it out. If you throw the sword into a specific corridor, Girahim will try to go and pick it up. And he'll just keep on walking,
Ugh.
even if you're, walking in place, because he can't pick up the sword. And, you can do whatever you want with him in that point, because he's just busy walking in a straight line. I think you can even throw bombs at him or something.
Okay, what I was trying to do there was to do a flying kick to land at the place where I was trying to get to without having to do all of this over again. But I sort of clipped the wall and my flying kick stopped and...
Lost you in the Terminator.
Anyway, first order of business. I missed a silver remote when I was back here before. So I need to get that. And it's right over here. The first thing you gotta do is use this gut fucking I took a hit and now I need to go back and recharge. Then I took a hit from him. Fucking walker mechs. Ugh, that's what I get for actually trying to just skip things and do what I need to do. You get over here too. Fuck you. Yeah. Anyway, charge yourself up
All day to charge your laser.
and bounce back toward the wall. Yeah, this is a bit cryptic, but you can climb the ceiling. It's another situation where you really have to use the look feature to find something. But climb the ceiling and here you are, a few collectibles and a silver remote.
What are I know that the red remotes unlock more stages. The silver remotes unlocked the bonus stages, which got you gold remotes. Was it?
The silver remotes unlock bonus stages. The gold remotes unlock the 3 secret stages.
Okay. And the 3 secret stages are just secret stages, then.
Yeah, they give you additional red remotes, and the red remotes unlock progress through the game.
Okay.
Although if you've got enough silver remotes to actually unlock the bonus stages, there's a good likelihood you've got enough red remotes too, so it's more about just completing the game.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
I have no idea how I found all of this stuff on my own back in the day, because I did, but some of it...
Trial and error.
Well, maybe did you have the strategy guide?
Please read the enclosed instruction book.
I found all of it on my own, and
That guy. He's not house broke.
Gex 2 has some really well hidden secrets, but they're not badly hidden secrets, except for one in a level that we'll cover in a future part. And I have no idea how I found that. I guess I just used the look function a lot more when I was a kid than I do now.
I don't know. A lot of those kind of things just seem more natural to do when you're younger than when you're older. Like,
There are a lot of games that when I was a kid, I swear to God, I was awesome at them. But nowadays, it's like, what? What is this shit? How
you
did I
only
ever-
get
how was
worse as your gaming peak is like when you're 9. It only goes downhill from there.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
like,
unfortunately.
how was I ever good at this stuff?
Yeah, that was me in God of War 2 that I just recorded earlier this week. It's like, I used to be so good at this game.
A lot of it is that you only really played that game when you had it, I noticed. Because, like, when I was a kid, I think I played Sonic Adventure 2. That was, like, the only game I played. Like, that and Pokemon were, like, the only games I played for well over a year. Because, like, I didn't get new games very often. I got a new game at Christmas, a new game at my birthday, and that was basically it. So the games you play a lot. Whereas these days, when you have your own discretionary spending, expendable income, you can buy a new game every month or two, and like if you're doing really well, you can get a new game like every week. And then like you don't ever get good. I'm not talking like get good. I'm talking about getting good, like actually properly spelled. You actually do get good at the games, which is probably why like I was able to in Sonic Riders like unlock Supersonic and stuff. Unfortunately, that file's gone, so I'm never gonna be able to do it again. But you know,
Thanks, Ted's little brother.
no, that one was actually after my little brother. It was my memory card. My memory card earlier. It was earlier like late 2016. Actually, I was playing Mario Superstar Baseball, and I had finally gotten some superstar characters in that game that I had never gotten before, and I think I did like one of the hardest challenges. And then immediately after that, my memory card got corrupted, and I lost everything on it, and I was really pissed off.
Ugh.
Granted,
Fun.
that memory card was a good like 15 years old, but still, you know, it was right after I had done something really challenging, so I was really upset.
Super demoralizing. Never want to do it again.
Nah.